collective energy reading for mid to late December 2024. As I sit here and look out my window, I'm seeing something from a new vantage point. So maybe like me, your perception, your perspective has altered now. Maybe you just moved furniture around and the view outside the window, you're just seeing things from a different angle. Maybe you are realizing that you have more in common than you have different with that person. Maybe all of this information is now reaching you and you kind of know what you like, what your tastes and preferences are, and what they're not. And it just makes things all the more decisive now that Mercury is just about to station, direct, and move forward. You're moving forward with your preferences, and it's not anything other than that. I think it's like quite simple. There was a lot of noise outside on my street before I started recording, a lot of sirens, a lot of honking. This might suggest that you are experiencing some overstimulation or like external noise. And I think that that's been clarifying too, because again, it's helped you determine that you're not about that, you don't like it, or you're just not interested. Enough of me rambling on. Let's see what's coming through on the tarot as we sit under a full moon in Gemini, ruled by a about to be stationed direct Mercury. The star really fortifying, really talks to clearing that way, clearing up any cloudiness, fogginess, clearing through debris, and seeing some sort of a future orientation, a goal ahead, an aspiration. There might have been some literal debris or mess or clutter to sift through for you lately, and now you're entering the last couple of weeks of this calendar year with a fresh spring clean like approach. There is some sort of a cleaner scent in the air, and I don't think it's just this lovely Christmas tree beside me, but I do get the impression that like something had been stale or stagnant and it's really been spruced up for you. The Queen of Swords, very much about that clear sight ahead of you, the vision. And as I look out this window, I had to move things around a little bit so that I could plug in the Christmas tree lights. The Four of Swords, we're going to clear this up, and the Fool at the bottom of the deck. So we are approaching, with the end of the calendar year, of course, a new beginning. And what is under this Fool card, new beginning? What is the new adventure that awaits you? The Magician and the Seven of Wands. Well, obviously this is going to be going on the attack, right? This is going to be asserting yourself. This is going to be making your preferences known ahead of time so that there is not a Mercury associated with the Magician, reverse, retrograde. So there is no confusion about what it is that you, what it is that you stand for, what it is that you stand by, who you are loyal to, and what it is that you're willing to fight for, you know? Another way, I should say, of looking at this is saying like, what are you willing to sort of draw a line in the sand for, or with whom, and really what is the hill you're going to die on here? And what is the Magician card going to speak to here? It's going to speak to vocalizing those preferences and not being afraid of what other people think of you. The new year starts with that more kind of like self-possessed and self-assured energy overall. So what else have we got sitting here in front of us now? The Star, the Queen of Swords, the Four of Swords. So if you've had to move things around physically, if you've had to actually move or change job, I think some of you basically have had a transformation of your beliefs, ideals, values, a transformation of the way you see things. And it can be subtle. Like me, I'm just sitting in a different window now and I'm really noticing what's outside the door that I walk outside every single day, but I'm seeing it with a fresh gaze. I'm seeing it in a different way. So it does tell me that after this Mercury retrograde has cleared for you, the rest of December, it's very obvious. Everything is very, makes a lot of sense. I feel like the High Priestess isn't here, but we saw her in my last lunar kind of check-in at the beginning of the month, and that priestess energy is still with us from the new moon that was earlier in the month in Sagittarius. And that kind of like quiet, confident inner knowing where you can observe passively without having to say what's on your mind or tell people what you think of XYZ or what you think of the other person, I guess. And with the energies at the bottom of the deck, like the Fool, the Seven of Wands and the Magician, I get the impression that after the next 2 weeks pass and we enter into January, I get the impression that you are going to want to speak up a little bit more and like talk about things that are topical or on your mind or relevant to your life, and you don't really care if people agree or not, because this past 3 weeks has probably pointed out to you where you are very different to other people in terms of like Gemini things, you know, in terms of Sagittarius, Gemini things. Sagittarius is like, you know, beliefs and philosophy about life and, you know, overall your perspective and your truth. And then Gemini is a little bit more considerate of many different angles and the surface level of everybody's point of view kind of amalgamating into something that is a bit more whole and holistic, I guess. So what I'm trying to say is the last couple of weeks have been more about the jarring differences that have illuminated to you your personal preferences, and that kind of, I guess, makes you operate in the world in a certain way. And through that lens, I guess, I think I'm going to tie this up somehow. Through that lens, you have seen your differences, you know what your preferences are, you know what's worth fighting for, and basically you know what your hill to die on is and what you're willing to really not negotiate on, and what you're willing to vocally, I guess it's like the battle, not the war, right? You know now what you're willing to stand by, stand up for, advocate for, and assert. You know what is kind of a little bit more petty or small fry and not necessary to your overall mental health and well-being to get involved with. Okay, so that's just the overall message, I guess, of what's been going on for you, and what's coming through in December is peace of mind and a clear sight, clear vision of what lays ahead of you, rather, the new beginning that's promised with the Fool card energy, something fresh, something adventurous. But you have to be willing to make your preferences known. You have to be willing to, from the offset, go on the offense or go on the attack, is what I heard when I saw those cards. So you have to be willing first and foremost to do that. And it seems like the last 2 to 3 weeks of like disagreement or more pettiness or more or less a lack of understanding or miscommunication has just been kind of like the training ground for you to know what truly matters to you in a bigger way. Let's clear up these cards and see what might be happening for you over the next couple of weeks now on a little bit more of a mundane level. So you've got this beautiful vision, and some of you just have to take a little pause on that maybe, but you know, I think for the most part you're really ready to execute this, because now the future is clear and it's very much in your sights, and that's exciting. And I feel like there's a lightness in your step and a kind of like a very like, it's an unburdened direction you're taking flight with. Okay, the Star card and the Chariot. Okay, well that's definitely as well with the Knight of Wands at the bottom of the deck, some more Sagittarian energy, between now and the sun remaining in Sagittarius, and on the 22nd the sun leaves Sagittarius, there is some sort of a plan set in place for a journey, a car trip, a road trip, a overseas flight, a train ride. There's some sort of a, over the next week, you coming up with a plan of where you're going and how long you're going to stay, and booking the flights and seeing if there's any deals, and, you know, making sure the car is serviced or the car is, you know, fully stocked and ready for this journey, you know. And then when the new moon in Capricorn rolls around towards the end of the, I believe it's around the 30th of the month, I believe the new moon in Capricorn is here. And I think then it's when you are very much having experienced that journey, or you're on the way, or you're really getting ready to go, or the part of the commute has happened. Now, this doesn't really have to be a journey that is taking place literally. You might have really just been taking stock as to how well prepared you've been lately for the journey that lays ahead, symbolized by the Fool card that came through. Otherwise, the Star card and the Chariot card just speaks to this readiness overall for the next steps on your journey, with a really like lightness again, lightness and brightness. And the Star card is very healing and hopeful, so I like to see that. The Queen of Swords. The Ace of Cups. Some of you are looking for love right now. Some of you are hoping for a connection, or to welcome a blessing of something really sentimental, something pure, something that is really like this dove here, or the lotus, or the flowing water, whatever that kind of symbology invokes in your heart overall, that longing. I mean, it's just something that really, I think of complete purity and unconditional love, maybe as close as you can get to that. Some of you are really looking to invite that energy even into your life, that frequency, sort of experiences that align with feeling blessed, or even just an experience, or some sort of a deep down knowing or feeling that all is well, all is taken care of, that you're divinely protected. There is a lot of that coming through in buckets actually, and some of you are looking for some sort of a message or a signal or a sign or a memo on this. Like, you're looking for a sign, and I mean, maybe this is when you'll get it over the next 2 weeks. So I hope so. Actually, at the bottom of the deck, this is Mercury in Sagittarius in reverse. We are still in the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, but the Magician is right there too. Maybe this message is going to make more sense to you if you watch it back in about a week or two's time, okay? Or maybe something is just about to become more clear to you, and at the moment it's somewhat up in the air, or hasn't fully gotten back to you, responded, or you just don't know what you think about this yet. It seems like it's about to crystallize really soon. And in fact, I would say no more than like 4 days of you seeing this. Your vision includes so much love and so much emotional fulfillment, and so much like nourishing, tender energy, or just an overflow really of emotional prosperity. The Four of Swords and the Page of Swords. This is about the voice and the message. If you're not sure what way to say something yet, sleep on it. It will come to you. So not only are some of you waiting for a sign from the great beyond, or the universe, or a higher power, your highest self, some of you are also hoping to figure out a way to say it, to express it yourself. Some of you are trying to listen, some of you are trying to communicate in another way. So I get the impression that whether you are waiting on a message, you don't have long to wait, whether you're waiting to figure out how to say it or how to express this or communicate this, I also think that that's going to come to you with just a little more sleep, maybe 4 more nights, maybe not even. It's just a bit of a pause until you know how to find the words. If that makes any sense to you. I also think that the next 2 weeks look incredibly blessed, and the journey looks very worthwhile, or the future trip, and the ideas and the streams of insight come to you in dreams, in your sleep, when you're just gazing out the window. Okay, have a great rest of the month, and if you would like to see an exclusive December reading for your sign, that will be linked down below on a community channel that I have. I'll be back soon on YouTube to do the year ahead readings for each sign, though, looking at a month-by-month outlook for the rest of, well, for 2025, actually, I should just say. So I'll see you soon.